Hi, and this is the Wheelchair Fighting Man here, wanting to discuss with you the women's revolution in WWE. I personally, well, not just in WWE, in wrestling full stop. Basically, I think this is a great thing that's happening with women's wrestling, and we have to kind of give it up to TNA, Gail Kim, and an awesome Kong, and a lot of forerunners. Let's be honest with you, Medusa. Really, it seems like her style's come back in, and I always seem to have this sort of. Okay, I'm a guy, I'm heterosexual, I like women anyway, but there's always been a purity towards women's sports. Football, for example, because it had the 50-year ban that it had, soccer, as you may know it in America, there is a purity when you see mistakes or you see something that is kind of more pure than what's happening than the men's game. There's the thing that mistakes happen and they're human, but I think what we're seeing now in the women's wrestling game is we're seeing more women come forward. Having been involved in wrestling for a very short time myself, just to have a female referee, it was a lovely young girl, did a great job, and she took a tremendous bump off of the steel pole off of the ring, steel ring post, sorry, and I was, the fact of the matter is, she was fine, but I was more worried about the guys flying over the top of the ring, nearly landing on her. But basically, bottom line is that, now the women seem to want to be given as good a matches as the men. And yes, you can say Lita and Trish did that in the Attitude Era. You can say that, we've nearly got there so many times, nearly. And I mean this even going back to back in the day in the 80s with I never check my name, so I'm like, oh, I know that one, yeah. But going back to sort of Fabulous Moolah and people, Fabulous Moolah, Sherry Martel, and the other one whose name will come to me later, Wendy Richter. That's it. Wendy Richter was brilliant, but Moolah wanted control of the title, and I think Moolah, as good as what she was for women's wrestling, and who she trained and who she was involved with, she really did. She owned that women's title. She brought it. She owned it. She had the rights to it, and she controlled it. And in a way, she kind of stunted it. As where the Japanese have always taken it to this other level. And it's always been, wrestling has always been on the verge of being UFC K1 sort of style type thing out there. And that's why the wrestlers that could shoot wrestle, like Bob Backlund and people like that, would go over to the States and go over to Japan and do that, in between WWE runs or whatever. That is by the by. Alundra Blaze was the first to really go over in Japan, and it was great to have. I used to like watching the Alundra Blaze matches because not only were they short, not only were they action-packed, but it also led to actually, she's just done a flying martial arts kick there. This is a bit like the 1-2-3 Kid. This is a bit like when the 1-2-3 Kid, X-Pac come in. Some of his moveset, I was going, that's Alundra Blaze right there. Some people can say, don't know, wicked bullshit. But no, from being a mainstream observer of wrestling, where else would I have seen that at the time? I mean, Pillman was great in his heyday and all that, but the Alundra Blaze, Wendy Richter, they all had their role, but they never came together at one time. Then you had Trish, Lita, you had Ivory, you had Jacqueline, you had all these Victoria. I mean, to be honest with you, when I saw TNA, Victoria was the best there. Was the best wrestler there for the taping. She put in the best show. And I know people go, what do you mean? Even Kurt Angle and Sting when they were in the steel cage. Obviously, like, it's a taping. They're gonna take it easy. Kurt went all out like he always does. But what I'm saying is the second best above that on the taping was Victoria in her match, because, and you know this when you've got a youngster with you who's about 14 who says ouch when he sees the finisher. You know, Sting and Kurt Angle, yeah, great, but you know, you didn't go ouch, and you didn't, you know, the natural thing, ouch, you know. So when we did have, you know, these women that were sort of half models and half wrestlers, you know, half decent wrestlers. You look at Lita, she wrestled the Lucha Libre style, mainly the high flying style, and, you know, she's gone on to do a lot of stuff in Orphan and stuff. But now we're moving on to this women's revolution thing, which to me, I'm actually a big fan of. And my friend goes, well, actually, when they're not competing in bra and panties, and when we're not seeing bra and panties matches, but it's like, you know, at the end of the day, they got to sell it, just like the men have got to sell it on their muscles, right? Men don't look at wrestling, they've always looked at it as like, it's their, pro wrestling is their soap opera. But instead of going, God, yeah, he's so chiseled, wow, you know, they don't look at it like that. They see the women come down, it's like, oh, let's go make the tea. Only recently has it been, I feel, especially, I mean, TNA got on to it very quickly with a Knockouts division, and they made their Knockouts division phenomenal, fantastic, brilliant, out of this world, right? And they had some great matches. And now, the thing is, I really do hope WWE bring back Awesome Kong. And the thing is, what I don't like about the Women's Revolution, and I'll be honest, is some of the storylines, you know, Charlotte Flair's storyline writes itself. Her career kind of writes itself. Sasha Banks' career being involved with Charlotte kind of writes itself. Bayley, I get it, you know what I mean? She's kind of the lost soul of the Four Horsewomen. Becky Lynch, I get it, but, you know, these two, you know, there's two that are really top of their game, and there's two that are really, you know, they're there in terms of the psychology, but if you put them in against the wrong opponent, it's like anything, the wrong dance partner, wrong style, they're going to have bad matches. One thing I'd like to see more of is you're getting people like Mickie James come back, a lot of the older divas come back, and I would actually like to see them have a couple of title runs, just like we've seen with the men, so it gives the women more time to develop. But, you know, who knows? I think the Women's Revolution is going from strength to strength, certainly making Raw and SmackDown more interesting each week, and NXT. And, what's it, Osaka, or, you know, Asa, the gorgeous Japanese girl in NXT, who I believe could be the female version of The Undertaker. I think if they bring back Awesome Kong, it'd be awesome, without sounding too cliched. I think Nia Jax is one to watch. I think this, this Asa is one to watch. I can't say her name, terrible really. Should know her name, but I'm always afraid that I'll get it wrong. But she's brilliant, she's fantastic, and you can see how they're building that and what they're going to do with her. I just think that, you know, we need a few of the old timers to come back, win the belt, have that old versus new sort of thing, and let that go. If Trish, you know, they're going to come back and give the belt to. I think Mickie James deserves a run. I think Victoria deserves a run if she's coming back. And definitely, without a doubt, Kel Kim, because she's been outstanding. She's been absolutely outstanding for the business. And she's allowed these guys to raise the bar. I'd like to see Charlotte come back from injury. I really would. And I think she was pivotal in all of this. And it's weird that us Brits are the ones that have made this happen. But I think Charlotte, if she comes back, would be brilliant. I think Vince should just smooth things over with AJ Lee, bring her back. And then you've got, you know, you've literally got not just another soap opera type show, you've got another wrestling show there.